welcome back to another wonderful episode of Zappychats, an exclusive HR podcast with leaders in business and human resource domain. Today, I have a wonderful guest with me who is a seasoned HR leader in areas of human resource management, IR, with multi-industry experience, creating value to the business. This person has worked with major brands like Titan, BMW, Flipkart, and Celebi. He has worked in Indian and multinational companies with Asia Pacific experiences, with focus of organizational development and managing change. Today we have with us Mr. Rakesh Rajan, Head of HR for Celebi Aviation Limited. Welcome, Rakesh, to the Zappychats show.
Thank you, Ranjit. Thank you for inviting me for this Zappychat. So I hope I'll be able to add value with whatever topic that we are going to take today. Thank you for the brief and beautiful introduction. Thank you.
So Rakesh, today our discussion is on employee value proposition and attracting talent. And I could not find a better person than you who has worked in the field of organization development and attracting the right talent. So let me start with the first question. So according to you, what is employee value proposition and what is its importance in today's organizations?
So Ranjit, I'll go one by one. What is an employee value proposition? So employee value proposition is a sum of everything that a company has to offer for its existing as well as future employees. So it's very similar to any value proposition for that matter. So it has to answer what is it in for me, for whoever is ready to spend their time, energy, and their capabilities and loyalty to the organization. So that is what it is, what is employee value proposition, which the organization is ready to offer. Now, why is it important? Especially in this times when we are dealing with, starting from the Gen Z to the millennials and, now with the great resignation in place, it is all the more important for organizations to know what is it that they have to offer. And they have to really be answering what is it in for me for each and every person who is, looking out for that opportunity. I think that is the relevance of employee value proposition at this current time.
That's a wonderful start for our discussion. So let me change the tables. Should every organization have an employee value proposition well defined? And how is employee value proposition or EVP connected with talent attraction?
Okay. So if I get your question, you asked, should every organization have an employee value proposition? Yes. Now, it depends on the maturity of the organization also. So I don't say that, an organization which has just started, say, for example, now there are a lot of startup companies which are, into the market for attracting talent. So an organization which is like 2 years, 3 years, from its inception, if they have to have an employee value proposition which is defined and ready to be marketed, I don't think so. But as a management, they should know what is it that they are ready to offer. And that is very, very important. Now, coming to the second part of the question, which is how is it helping to attract talent? If I would say, with my experience of working with talent acquisition, with companies like Titan, where we used to have mass hiring, launching businesses like iPlus when I was there, and also with Flipkart, which is, working on a very huge ramp up, for the big billion day sale and, and then a ramp down. So, when we have to have that kind of a flexibility in, ramping up and down of labor, and when we need niche skills, like, say, for example, while I was working with Titan, special purpose machine division, there used to be a, crunch in the market for mechanical and electrical designers. So when you are looking at niche skills from the market, and when you want to really have an edge over attracting the top talent that is available in the market, then I think an organization cannot do it without having a defined employee value proposition. Now, I am not saying that it needs to be published in your website, but the organization's management has to be very well aware about what is it. Now, an employee value proposition will not be exhibited just by posting it or articulating it beautifully. It has to be cascaded down to the organization, and the organization should also be living that value. So I think that is the essence which will which will help organization in attracting talent.
You nailed it right. It's not just keeping a poster or putting it in your website about employee value proposition or articulating it clearly. It's about living the life with that employee value proposition or defining it between the words. As an HR leader, I would like to ask you one question. How can organizations create a strong and compelling employee value proposition for its employees? What are the key parameters an HR leader or a business leader need to have in mind while creating this employee value proposition?
Excellent one. If we are setting out for a, if an organization is setting out to define its value proposition, employee value proposition, then it has to be a very detailed exercise because employee value proposition should be first heard from. It has to be felt. It is not probably what the founders think that they are offering. It is not probably what the senior management thinks that they are delivering on a day-to-day basis. It is what an employee down from the floor or in the market or toiling day in and day out to bring the revenue to the company thinks, why am I working for this company? What does it inform me? So you have to listen to your employees first. You need to listen to your customers. You need to listen to your customers because the customers knows. See, for nowadays, even when with the kind of opportunities, with the kind of ample options that are available in the market, if a B2B business is also going out seeking for a business partner, they are looking at it from a multifaceted this thing. It is not just the revenue. It is not just the product's quality or the service quality. They also look at how this employer, how this company works with their employees. So it is very important also to listen from customers, from stakeholders, multiple stakeholders. So depending on your type of business, you need to see who are your stakeholders and listen from them. Last but not the least, go to the market with every recruitment drive that you are doing. You need to know what does the candidates who are outside. Now this becomes very, very critical now. At these times when a candidate also does equal or more research than the company before choosing a company. And where do they get this information? It's not at the website. There are enough and more data that is flowing on the web from employees, from customers, from disgruntled employees, from happy employees. So there is enough and more data, and companies has to be very, very clearly monitoring this and ensuring that the message that they have put out in the virtual world is something that is in line with what they have written as an employee value proposition. So now all of this is a must. Like you asked, what goes into this? So a company should invest time, energy, and resources to go deep and understand what are these things, and then coin their employee value proposition. Now, if there is a gap, which is coming out from this research, then that is where the company has to first work on before they come to this employee value proposition. How can we do that? It's a long discussion.
Amazing perspectives. Listen to your customers, listen to your employees, listen to your prospective employees, and take action first. Brilliant perspectives. So Rakesh, you have worked with multinational organizations like the BMW. You are currently working with a multinational company. You have worked with startup companies. Unicorn companies like Flipkart. Very stable organizations like Titan. Could you share some of the best people practices you have noticed, which would help organizations to attract and bring in right talent from the market?
Yes. Now, let me start with Titan. So Titan is a part of the Tata family. And when it is a Tata family, you don't have to You don't have to really write the value proposition. It is all over. Now, if somebody asks me over the years, how did this organization create that kind of a value proposition, which is not even sometimes written anywhere, but it is there in the market. That is the kind of market positioning it has. That is the kind of top of mind recall that it has created in the prospective employees. So I've done campus highs when I was with Titan. So when you go to the campus and even if you don't have a pre-placement talk presentation, it's very easy to pitch the company. Or rather, you don't even have to pitch the company. The people who are there are just aspiring to be there. Same was the case with BMW. So now with that brand, which is, so these are like, companies that existed over 100 years, so now for them, how did they do it? If you want to go back and see how they did it, that's a long journey. Probably they would have learned it the hard way on, what needs to be corrected. And it is a lot of course correction that has happened, and that has gone behind creating that kind of a market positioning. Now let's come to Flipkart. Flipkart had to build it from the beginning. So how do you pitch it? Now this is very this is very interesting to see. As a new organization that is coming, it is very critical. Like I was saying in your previous question, that you need to know who are the customers, who are your future potential employees. So you need to profile that kind of a person. You need to profile your future employee and see what will be attractive to them, what will be appealing to them. It is not just total rewards. It's not just compensation. So if you are trying to do your employee value proposition working just with the CNB function, I'm sure that is not going to work out. Is it the culture? Now, Flipkart is a Gen Z company. So it says, you have foosballs, you have basketball inside, you have every game, you can wear whatever you want your work. And then, the kind of parties that you do are great. So now this is to, appeal to the millennials. Now, millennials are a very dangerous group, because, like every researcher doing their work with millennials say, it is about instant gratification. Now, instant gratification is something which is very difficult to sustain. So as an organization, when your target, potential employee is the millennial, then you have to devise your employee value proposition and your culture and your processes in such a way that, you can sustain this gratification. So if just by one party or by one performance appraisal results or by one payout or by a joining bonus or by setting a certain event or employee engagement activities, this will not sustain. So it has to be it has to be thought through. It has to be strategized. So can you roll out everything in the beginning of the year? No, you need to sustain it throughout the year. You need to plan from your budgeting to your strategy. You need to see how and when is this going to roll out and how are you going to pitch it. This is very critical. So this is where I said, it requires alignment from the CEO, to the first line manager, because every message that goes, right from what is torn from the top to how it is cascaded and how it is consistently being told to the employees, that makes a difference on them perceiving as to what it is. Also, again, this reflects to the market without even you advertising about it, by word of mouth, it always goes to the market. So I think this is the perspective that I can bring from my experience on how an employee value proposition is developed and what are the best practices that companies do to attain that.
Thank you for sharing some of the wonderful snippets of from your past services experiences. Rakesh, you have been hiring people, you have been trying to bring in the best talent from the market, and you would have faced a lot of challenges also. You are well networked in the HR domain. So my next question is on the challenges of HR leaders as well as the hiring managers. What are these challenges faced by organizations today to attract the right talent, and how can or what are the ways in which we can address them?
So this is about, first of all, defining your talent pool. Now, this is very, very critical. Like I said, what are you looking at from the market? You need to define that persona of the candidate, that you want to attract. Everything then works backwards. Now, so previously, I think there was a time when, if you had to define your talent pool, it was just enough to, kind of put the basic filters on, the qualification, the experience, the age, and then you can always, reach on your talent, or if you're doing a headhunting, this is your talent pool, this, you could define it. But now it's not, now it's different. Now companies go for multi-industry hiring. People have already started jumping into gig economy. Companies as part of DEI initiatives have started opening up, to different types, different kinds, and varied, candidates or profiles. So now this is critical for an organization to profile that candidate first, then work backwards and see what is it going to appeal to this particular profiling, and then define the talent pool. And then strategize the entire talent acquisition process according to that. Now, what all goes into this? Of course, CNB is a very critical thing. So, you need to be understanding how you need to be positioning in the market yourself. So, enough market research goes into that. Now, there are a lot of data available in the market. You need to compile it. You need to make sure that this is how you want to you want to position. Then comes, everything that I said, about after profiling your candidate persona, then what is it going to appeal to them? So then comes the concept of total rewards. So it is not, so obviously, this is also coming out from the CNB. So in total rewards comes everything starting from your, your rewards and recognition, how are you going to incentivize the performance, your performance management system, how this is going to, pay out, and career opportunities. How once you get into my organization, once you get into this organization, do you have enough to keep yourself challenging? Is this organization ready to be learning and helping you to grow within the organization? This is very, very, very critical. So if these kind of things are sorted out, if the focus from the management or the organization is on these lines, I think that would help a lot in from talent attraction perspective, talent acquisition perspective.
Surprisingly, you have taken some thoughts from my next question.
Okay.
Say in the present scenario, people tend to, take career decisions, shift organizations, shift industries. So again, coming back to the point of creating the right employee value proposition. So in this changing economy, say especially when the gig economy is also coming in, what would you suggest for building the right EVP? Is it building long-term relationships or value during the short tenure?
Very nice question, and very relevant also. So there has always been a thought that, do you want to retain everybody that you are hiring? No, because if you do that, probably that is also not the best thing for the organization. Then comes, what is the desired attrition and who are you ready to lose? There comes your performance management system and how are you driving it? Are you really focusing on potential? So do you have a system where you are doing a potential development and not just a performance management system? Are you able to identify talent from that perspective and then focus on them? I think if this is the thought process, then your EVP will automatically get aligned. So now I cannot answer as to what best EVP know, because it's very very subjective to organizations on what they need to do, and this can change also. EVP is something that organization has to look at, as if they are doing the target setting every year, because every year, according to your organization's preference changes, your employee value proposition should also change. I'm not saying it must change, but it can change. And organization should be open to it. They should look critically. Management should have a sit down and see this year with our priorities, with our focus, are we rolling out the right thing? Or should we be broadening our horizon? Should we be adding out new things to our value proposition? Right? Because the product, like I said in the beginning, it's just the value proposition, just like any product. As long as new products keep coming into the market, if you want to keep ahead of the game, then you need to be changing.
Very sharply put it. I mean, employee value proposition and talent attraction also need to be very agile and very lively, which has to be in the mind of the leaders of industries. So now, let me put this $1 million question. As a leader of the HR domain, you have seen multiple organizations, you have seen people around. What are your suggestions? What are your recommendations for the budding HR leaders in attracting the right talent and building a strong EVP?
Since you asked budding HR leaders, which I always tell my team as well as anybody who would whom I have got an opportunity to mentor, know your business in and out. If you do not know your business in and out, then you don't stand even a slightest chance of you being able to design or develop a value proposition. Once you being in HR, you know your business, then you are able to influence the business leaders to bring in the right change that is required. Otherwise, you might probably have a feedback from the market, but again, your organization or your business might not be as flexible as required to be addressing it. So you know a problem, this is the problem, but you don't have a solution to it, and you are not even able to find a solution to it. If you have to be able to find a solution, then you should know the business and be able to influence the business in a way that is required. So that would be what I would personally share with budding HR leaders.
Thank you so much, Rakesh, for sharing these pearls of wisdom. I would say, this is definitely going to impact a lot of people out there, and work on the business knowledge, understanding their value chain, what brings in the business to each one of them, and add more value to the organization rather than just becoming transactional HRs. So thank you so much for that. So friends, that was Rakesh Rajan, Head of HR, Celebi Aviation, wonderful HR leader. And that's all from me on Zappychats, an exclusive HR podcast. Thank you so much. Wishing you good luck.